Welcome back to another video, guys. Today, as you guys know, we're getting ready to paint the crew cab. I showed in a video a week or two ago that the front clip is not perfectly aligned. So we're going to spend a fair bit of time today trying to get that perfect, because I don't want to have to deal with that once the truck is painted. It'll just make it harder. It'll make it more likely to get dings in the paint and dents. So we're going to try and get that perfectly aligned before we get it ready for paint. So let's go ahead and get started and try getting this lined up. Alright guys, I am super excited. I think I got it loosened to where I can move the panels. I've never gotten it to actually do that, which is my fault because I think I left, like, the inner fender bolts were left on, and there's one bolt up here that I think I forgot. This one. So I had taken that one off, but not this one. So let me show you real quick let me show you the bolts that you have to take out if you want to adjust your front clip, and then we're going to start trying it, okay? So you've got all these along here, okay? They're all either 7/16 are all these ones, and then there's a couple like these two and those two up there are 1/2 inch. So then you've got these two, then you've got these two, and then you've got 5 holding your inner fender on, and those are 7/16. So I don't know if this is going to help, but I'm also going to loosen the core support bolts and see if that can help, because I feel like the core support needs to shift over that way just a little bit. So I'm going to get more scientific about it here in a minute. I won't bore you guys with that, but I'm going to take some measurements, do some calculations, see if we can get it nice and straight. So here we go. I'll let you guys know afterwards how it goes, but I'm glad the fenders are actually mobile at this point. But I feel like when I pull this fender out as far as I need it to, then the holes don't line up with where the bolt's supposed to go, so which tells me the core support probably needs to come over just a little bit. So all right, let's give her a good try. All right guys, this is about to get serious. I think I'm gonna take some drastic measures to get this lined up. I can't get the core support to loosen up, and the bolts for them are almost inaccessible when you have the radiator in. So this thing's already due for a coolant flush, so I think I'm going to drain the coolant, pull the radiator, then I can have good access to those bolts. It'll make lining this thing up a lot easier, and we'll just leave the radiator out, and then when we're done painting we'll throw it back in and fill it with fresh coolant. So it's cheap, it's easy, and we can get this straightened out just right. So let's go ahead and do that, and we can really get to aligning this. Alright, so to drain the radiator, let me show you guys. I've done this a couple times because I had to do it a lot in Alaska, but right up here there is a little pepcock type deal that you just have to twist loose. Now if you just loosen it and leave it there, it's going to drip all over this stuff and make a whole mess down here. So I'm going to show you guys a trick. I forget where I saw this. I saw this on someone's channel, but this makes it much more cleaner. Actually, I remember where I saw this. This was Tyler Ovens on Ovens Garage. He and his dad did this when they flushed his radiator, so thanks for the tip. We're going to use it. So what you're going to do is grab a bottle. This is just a 24-ounce bottle. You could use like a liter or 2 liter. What I'm going to do, oops. We're just going to cut a little bit of kind of an oblong opening. There you go, just like that. And so what we're going to do is put that pepcock right at this opening, angle this down so it all pours straight out of the little spout and into the bucket that we have. So I'll set that up and get that draining, and then we'll be ready to pull it out. All right, Tyler, you're a genius. That worked perfectly. Going right into the bottle and then right into the bucket. No mess at all. You guys will notice my front transmission cooler is not hooked up. Actually, that pepcock rubbed a hole in the line and it started spewing out tranny fluid. So I just doubled it back, bypassed it for right now. I'm going to be doing a manual swap, so I'm not going to hook it back up anyway, so. Give you guys the good point of view. Look at that. Genius, Tyler. That's amazing. All right, we'll let that drain and then I'll show you guys how to pull the radiator out. All right guys, this is taking forever to drain, so I'm going to show you how to remove the radiator while it's draining, and we'll have the ambiance of the trickle of coolant. So enjoy while we go through this. So this bracket right here and this bracket right here, take both of these bolts off. They're both 7/16. I've loosened them off. And all you're going to do is lift that up. So it's got kind of this rubber gasket there that hooks onto it. Okay, so this side as well. Lift that up, pull it off. Okay, so now you can see the radiator's quite loose. Okay, so the only other thing you need to do, well, a couple more things. Undo this hose clamp, slide it back. We'll pull the top radiator hose off. We have to pull the lower radiator hose off, which is on the other side. And then we have to pull the fan shroud off as well, because we can't pull the radiator out with the fan shroud on it. Now to do that, there's just a couple clips up here at the top. There's actually a couple on the bottom as well. So you take those off and then it's, you kind of have to finagle it out of there. And you can do it while you're lifting up the radiator, or you can do it by itself, but just be gentle. Those fan shrouds they're not cheap. People are asking 150 bucks for them, for a piece of plastic. So be careful, don't be yanking on it and break anything while you're doing that, okay? All right, so let's go ahead and undo all that stuff while this is still draining. So to get these fan shroud clips off, just get a little tiny flathead screwdriver, put it in there, and just gently lift up on it, and there you go. Save that for later. There we go. Okay, you can see that's loose. The bottom ones you don't even have to undo. They just kind of come off as you lift up on the shroud. Look at that. I don't think it's actually typically like this. I think I actually cut mine so it's easier to get in and out, as you can see there. And it works just fine that way. Alright, now we are at the mercy of the draining radiator again, so I'll cut back in when that's all drained, and we'll get that lower coolant hose unhooked and then pull the radiator out. So this is something you would want to do if you haven't fixed your KDP on your engine. You're going to want to take the radiator out because you can access the front timing cover with it out. It's obviously easier to pull the whole core support, but that's actually not a very easy feat with how these first gens are buttoned together with the core support. So the easiest way is pull the radiator. So if you need to do your KDP, your killer dowel pin, you need to pull the radiator. Okay, I'll catch back up with you in just a second. All right guys, it finally finished draining. So I'm going to undo the lower radiator hose right down there, and then we'll just slide it on out. All right, that lower radiator hose is off. I jinxed myself and I kind of made a mess, but it's unhooked. I'm going to lift it out. Also make sure to take your overflow tube off. All right, if you look in here, you can see now we have complete access to the core support bolts. So we're going to loosen those up, and then what I'm going to do is kind of jack up on the middle of it just a little bit and see if it has any play left to right. All right guys, so I jacked up the core support just a little bit, and I suspected that the core support was a little bit low. And look what it did over here. Closed that gap right up. So I'm going to go check the other side. The other side didn't have a big gap. And yeah, it's smaller over here. So I like that it closed that gap over there, but maybe we're going to bring this side forward if we can just a little bit. Anyways, it's just a game of trial and error. Kind of get something how you like it, see when you fix other stuff, and move it and try and get it where you want it. So we're going to have to put a couple more spacers in the front here for sure, because we need it higher. Alright guys, so let me show you this. So the general rule, or what I've been told to do, is get the doors lined up first and then work your way forward. So I'm going to adjust the door just a little bit. It's pretty good, but this gap's just a little big right here. And I'm torn because part of me says just leave it, it's good enough. So we'll see. I'll try and adjust it a little bit, but it does need to come back just a hair. And you can tell too, because right here it's sitting just a little bit forward. So I'm gonna get in here and use the hinges, loosen those up, and see if we can make some adjustments with it. All right guys, seems like it's one step forward, two steps back with everything. So I'm going to adjust this door. Let me show you. So in order to adjust it, you've got to loosen the bolts from the pillar side. So on the lower hinge and the upper hinge. The thing with these is one of the bolts goes in. See if we can get it to zoom a little bit better. One of them goes in from, outside to in, and the other two come from inside and go out. So what you have to do, I removed my kick panel. Now this thing's a pain in the butt to remove because two of the screws are up behind the parking brake. So what I do is put a little screw head in a ratchet and just get it up in there. So the lower hinge bolts are right behind this. The upper ones are up in there, so we're going to have to kind of snake or ratchet up in there. I'm going to pull the lower one off and make sure. I think it's 1/2 inch, it might be 9/16. And we'll just work patiently, and that's this whole process. We're just going to work patiently, and the idea is to get it done right. The alignment on these body panels has always bugged me. So I'm willing to take the time, get it right, and be satisfied so that it's ready for paint. So anyways, I'll get in and kind of loosen those up, and we'll see what we can do with that. Alrighty guys, little update for you. So I actually got this door loose, moved it around. I moved it back just a hair, but I had it moved back quite a bit, and it made the gap right here way too big. And if you have a first gen, you know how annoying it is to get wind noise through this gap. So I kind of compromised. You know, to the naked eye, it doesn't look a ton different, but I just don't want to have any wind noise through that gap right there. So, all right, I'm going to work on the fenders a little bit, work on the hood, get the hood lined up. I kind of closed it, and you can still see it's too close on this side, and it's too far on this side. So I'm going to check the fenders, make sure they're pretty straight, and then line the hood up. So making good progress nonetheless. That was a lot of work I put into that door for just a tiny bit of movement, but again, it's worth it to me. So alrighty guys, I have been at this for hours. Couple things. First, there were more bolts than what I told you guys. There's also a bolt to the fender in here that you have to open the door to get to. There's this one here, but there's two on the other side. I had to loosen the battery tray. I had to loosen a couple of these bolts in here. What else? I had to loosen the battery tray here, but now everything's very mobile. But it's a lot of work, because you get one thing moved and it makes the another side off, and then you fix that and it makes something else off. So I'm going to do some research tonight, see what I can come up with, and then we'll keep working at it tomorrow. I've been working at this for probably, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours today. So for you guys, it's only a couple minutes, but so I'm going to do some research, may talk to some people and see what suggestions they have. But anyways, if we can't get it, we'll just get it as good as we can, and maybe that's something I'll just pay a body guy to do. It seems like those guys just figure it out, and through practice and doing it for years and years, they get good at it. So if I have to pay someone to do that, to get it aligned, we'll do that. So anyways, we'll catch up with you guys in the morning.